Hi everyone, welcome. In today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. Today I had a whole bunch of follies, all kinds of mistakes, not least of which was a huge smudge on the lens of the camera that I only noticed later on during filming. And I actually did sort of sneak in a quick little wipe of the lens to clear the smudge. So you'll even notice it clearly when I get to that point where I did that. But there was also just this mix-up of me thinking I was working on a different bin when I started into this first one. So I got the two bins that I was working on together here mixed up, and it kind of threw me off kilter, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in real time while the video's rolling. So I just decided, sometimes I'll play back my videos, and sometimes I'll play them back at 5 times speed, sometimes 10 times speed. And sometimes it's just kind of cool watching all that action just blow right by, 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't even matter what the audio consists of. So today I figured maybe we'll just add a little bit of audio through this voiceover method, playing back all the footage. None of it's clipped, none of it's cleaned up. Then I'll just try to add some explanations here. So just a quick catch up. These two bins had for some time been just known as the back and forth bins. One of them even has some test bedding materials in it. Some cotton had been put in there, even some twine rope. The twine had pretty much deteriorated a few weeks ago already, so we've seen no sign of that. But the other system was composting cotton socks, and cotton towels. And we went into this thinking that the cotton composted system was going to be the next one. So here you can already see the cotton sock sticking out of the bedding because I'd already probed down into there and found it, and kind of was starting to realize that I had screwed up which bin I was working on. And then not only that, during this process we started to think to ourselves that kind of going back to what we talked about last time we checked in on these systems, we had talked about maybe doing away with the back and forth feeding pattern of always alternating the feeding location, and from this point forward, or from some point forward, try to transition to managing the systems in such a way that only one edge of the bin gets continually fed, and that pretty much leaves the other end of the bin unfed, meaning hopefully the worms will hang out in that stuff long enough to break all the residual little scraps of stuff in there down. But eventually when they do, they'll find that there's no food there, no bedding, and they'll just start gravitating towards the edge of the bin that does get fed. So coming up pretty soon here, now that we've dug the hole for the food, I'm going to pull out my bedding here, and that was the point at which I realized I was going to have an opportunity. I thought that I'd use the bin that I've got my prepared bedding in. I was going to stick it up in the camera, turn the camera off, clear the lens, put the bin of prepared bedding back up into the camera lens, and then sort of have that as the one thing that jumps on the screen for a moment, and uh, without even noticing it, suddenly the lens is nice and clean without that big smear on it. And it's most noticeable right now with that filter there. It's kind of bright, and once we clean off the lens, it won't be like that anymore. So it's coming up soon. But really quick here, we're starting to notice how so much of the material left of this cotton, like I said before, the beach towel was completely gone. So every bit of it was consumed by the worms, but these socks have elastic material in them. There's the part that springs around your calf, holds the sock up on your leg. You can even say that that top ring has survived quite nicely on both of the socks. And the big part down low is the part that goes down around your foot. And I'm realizing now that that stuff is also made up of a lot of really springy, stretchy material. Kind of making me wonder if we're even going to see much more progress on those socks. Maybe that's it for the cotton. So we're finally getting the food in. The pumpkin portion that these little guys are getting is significant, and with that is going to come a good amount of moisture. And up until now, we'd had no coverings on this system, and it did great. It had no need for coverings. It was able to retain its moisture and stuff like that. But now that we've shifted the feeding area to one side and we're going to keep it there, we made the decision to try to protect the other end of it from drying out too abruptly. We do want the worms to remain over there, and we want them to keep working that stuff down nicely. So we decided to adopt a covering for this system towards the end, just so that, as time goes on, we can continue to check in on the side opposite of the feeding and see if the material has really been worked down to the point where we can call it castings only. But until that happens, we really do want to encourage worm activity there. And for that reason, the plastic covering that I went to fetch here during this little pause is the one major change besides the decision to switch to this wedge pattern and stop moving the feedings around. Plastic covering is going to retain a lot of that moisture that the pumpkin's bringing with it. And I'm curious to see what this is going to look like next time we pop in. So now onto the next bin, which we had originally planned on feeding second. So we had originally planned on feeding the ping pong feeding bin, the older of the two systems first, and that's the one I'm bringing out now, followed by the bin that's got the cotton in it, which is the younger of the two. So now we're actually working on the older of the systems, 34 weeks of age. And, that equates to 238 days. That's pretty old. And up until now, it's received 19 feedings. Today's feeding, feeding number 20. And in this system, no socks, no weird bedding materials, nothing being tested, no cotton, no twine. Here, just back and forth feedings, and that even ends now. So the only novelty remaining in this system is going to be those two little objects that you see here. One of them is a cork. That thing's been going from system to system to system for years, gradually breaking down. The other object that you saw there, to kind of go hand in hand with the pumpkin feeding that they're getting, is the pumpkin stem. That at this point goes back many, many, many months. I don't even know how long. 9 months, 10 months, who knows? I could be totally wrong with that, but yeah, that pumpkin stem has been in service for now. I actually have records. I could probably pull that stuff out, but offhand I do not know the answer to that. But that stem started out really big, and it's really working its way down. So here again, we've decided no more back and forth. We're just going to collect up any leftovers we can find, with the exception of all the little tiny scraps of shredded paper and everything, and try to use all the recycled stuff as well as some nice fresh bedding to build up a nice edge-based feeding, and that edge will just remain our feeding area going forward, allowing the opposite edge of the system to continue breaking down neatly. Now, here, I think we realize that we've got a lot more pumpkin for this system than the other system, and that's fine. It's all moisture, it's all water as far as I'm concerned, and it kind of made me glad that we were covering up only with cardboard on this system, because as we started out in the beginning, we bring cardboard back once again to try to hang on to the system's moisture, not let it all escape to evaporation, because we'll only want to, I think, allow the castings material to start to dry off a bit more in the future once it's really free of little bits of debris and little scraps of paper and stuff. When we're a little bit closer to that point in time when we're ready to try to really haul the worms out and harvest the castings, pull the castings out, and really bring it into the system. But despite their fairly advanced age on these two systems, I've been in no particular hurry to bring my systems to a close. In fact, I kind of thrive in the fact that I've got systems that have exceeded 20 feedings at this point. It's kind of neat, if you ask me. So it'll be interesting to come back in here in a little while and see the comparison on the two bins between cardboard and plastic coverings, but that's for another day. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you back here next time. Oh yeah, don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always very much appreciated. All right, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. Bye.